Hello and welcome. Please join me sitting and we'll get started. Once you've found a seat, close your eyes and take a nice full breath in. Let that out slow and steady. Relaxing around the shoulders and the ears. And then you're going to blink your eyes open. And then turn on your mat and come to all fours. Get nice bright handprints, spreading the fingers fully. And just a little sway over the hands. Moving freely now back and forth, arching the spine, rounding the back, any shapes or movement that feels good to begin waking up your body. And then you're going to curl your toes under and lift your knees and continue that exploration of free form movement, rocking your weight around. Bending, straightening knees, swaying the hips from side to side. No rules at all, except for that the hands are securely planted on the ground. Maybe a little bit of a spinal wave action, just anything that helps you to free up where you might feel stuck. And then drop your knees and walk your hands forward and come into puppy pose or anahata asana. If your arms are feeling a little tight, your shoulders are tight, just rest your elbows down. Rest your head down for sure. Hips are roughly above the knees. If you want more intensity, just straighten the elbows and engage the arms. Let's take a few breaths, letting the upper back open. Lifting just a little bit in your belly to support the low back. Then lean your weight forward and come into a Sphinx shape. When you arrive in your Sphinx position, elbows are basically under the shoulders. Tuck your chin down slightly so that your neck is long. And then push down with your forearms and hands. And in your mind, picture a little baby lying on the floor. In those early moments in life where the baby is learning to hold the head up. And see if you can translate that into your own body. The arms are here helping you, pushing down with the forearms. Chin is tucked a little so the neck is long, but the gaze is a little out front so that the neck is an extension of the spine. And you're just pretending, almost like you don't have hands. What would it be like to be learning again, like you've never done this before, to hold your head up from a balanced place? Turning on maybe some muscles or nerve connections that haven't been on perhaps in a while. So keep this visual and just slowly rotate your head one side, and less concerned about how far you rotate the head and more about teaching the upper back and the back of the neck a new way to hold the head up as if you were learning like a newborn baby. Okay, back to center. We take the head the other way. There's no reason why adults can't have tummy time too. Here we go. Pressing the arms down, turning the head, less worried about how far around the head goes, more about how to teach your body a safer, healthier way to hold the upper back up and head up. And then you're gonna come to the center and just open the elbows out and take your head down. You can put it on your hands or on your cheek. And breathe. And with each exhale, let go a little bit in the breath. while you're here on your belly, and I'm up on my forearms just because I'm keeping my microphone from rubbing on the floor, but you can stay with your head down. So just bend your right leg and reach back with your left hand and see if you can find your foot. If it's casual for you, not too hard, use your thumb to just massage just a little bit, gentle pressure point work here. You might be getting a little stretch in your thigh or your waist as well. Let's just switch to the other leg. So right hand crossing to find the left foot crossing to find right hand. And if it's not too hard for you, maybe you can use your thumb to massage the sole of your foot. If it's hard for you to reach, you could always loop your foot with a belt or just hold the foot in with the leg alone, no hand. Good. Release your foot, release your hand, and then slide your hands under your outer shoulders and lift your, so we're going to go into cobra, but just inform it with this image of the baby. Go slow, don't go so high. And where would you have to work to just, keep your ribs down, not even go like it's a little mini baby cobra. Your hands are in a form that they might normally be in with cobra pose, but you're not going as high, and you're turning on some different muscles to help hold the head up in a new way. And then let's continue and just lift up to all fours. When you get to all fours, find your way back into downward facing dog. And this time, maybe make the movements smaller or begin to hold still in the pose. Instead, let the breath grow just a little bit deeper, a little bit more full. So you're attending to the inside of your body, the inner world, not just the physical form or outer world. And then again, drop the knees. And drop the elbows. So you're in all fours, but with the forearms down. So it's a different shape, but again, working to just press the head back with the chin just ever so slightly tucked under. And as you lift your skull toward the ceiling and you're looking down toward the floor, imagine that you're pushing into a little bit of a headrest so that those muscles in the back of the neck, the trapezius, they turn on to help hold the neck and head up. And you can even think of like you're bending in your upper back between the shoulder blades, that lower tips of the shoulder blades area, so that the chest begins to unfurl slightly through the arms. And then from here, we're going to turn this onto the right side. So right forearm stays down, underneath, elbow underneath shoulder, and then the knees are going to come out in front and bend. And so it's not a severe angle here, 20, 30 degrees with the legs. And push down with your forearm so that your shoulder is supported. And then if you look at your torso, you would want to see that you're keeping it neutral. You're not dropping the chest forward toward the floor or rolling back with your chest toward the ceiling. So it's a little bit more in the vertical plane. So we're going to try to keep that. That's our goal for this. And we're going to push down into the knee and the forearm and squeeze the outer right hip and the right side of the waist to lift off the floor with the butt. We're going to do some little pulsations. So down, closer to the floor, lift away from the floor. And as you move 3 to 5 times, you're trying not to let your torso rotate forward and backward. Instead, really squeezing the side of your waist and the outer side of your hip and glutes. And now after you've done 3 to 5, just set back down. You're gonna push off the elbow of your right hand. You can drag that hand in, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna turn. So we're turning away from that right hand. And with the left leg, you're gonna have a couple of options. So one, you can keep your knee bent and just draw in, sort of like a round shape in the back. Or if you're a little more limber and you feel up for it, you could hold your leg and just stretch the leg up in the air. And then you're gonna take that left leg, you're gonna turn so that you can cross it over the right. And here we're gonna aim for putting both knees down, one knee stacked on top of the other one. So this is super hard for you. 2 options would be 1, lift your hips up on a blanket or a block, or 2, just bring that top knee upright and try to put your foot flat on the floor. And once you get yourself situated there, take a few breaths and let the weight of your hips kind of sink or settle into the ground. Now, if your knees are down, one on top of the other forward, like mine are, then you can start to lean a little bit forward, and a little goes a long way here, just a slight movement forward, and you'll really feel some stretching in those outer hips. Conversely, if you're in that more upright position with the left knee, start to twist toward the left. So just to give it a few more breaths. Consciously trying to turn off those outer hip and glute muscles. Turn off, another word for relax. Okay, come up with your torso if you leaned forward. We're gonna come back to right hand out to the side. And then that left leg, it's gonna uncross and it's gonna step off the mat or right at the edge of the mat out in front. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna push into the floor and try to lengthen the right side of the ribs. You can stay with that and really kind of spread open the right side body. If you don't have enough happening there, you could stretch the bottom leg straight as well. So we're just trying to bend this right side in a less effortful way so that the whole right side opens. And you're gonna lift your hips by pushing down into your left foot. So it's a moment of side plank supported. Then just turn your hips. Turn and face the floor, step back with the right foot, then step back with the left, and you are back in downward facing dog. Once you've situated yourself there, take a breath in and sweep your right leg up to the sky. You can let your hips turn out just a little bit. Feel free to bend that top leg if that feels good to you. And then we're going to slide that knee into pigeon pose near the right wrist. Drop it right to the floor, slide the left knee back. Stay upright for right now and use your hands out in front for support. Scoop your tailbone under, lift your low belly so the hips are kind of hovering up above the ground right now. And then come back to this visual of this new way, maybe new old way, like a baby when you were a baby, to hold your head up. So as you curl back or up, higher in the pose and you walk your hands in, inform it with this technique of using the trapezius, the 3 parts of the trapezius. The upper part is the part that usually hurts for most people here at the neck, where neck and shoulders meet. But whatever you can do to begin to hold yourself up, even way up here in the head, obviously getting a stretch on the hip flexors of the left leg. And then begin to fold forward and lie your torso down using the forearms for support. Be patient. Let yourself be in the quiet, in the stillness. To transition, you can stay on the forearms if that's easy for you. You can just bring the left knee in and step back with the right knee, and then we'll set up from here to the other side. If that transition doesn't work, just rearrange and do it how it works for you. You're going to turn onto your outer left hip and legs, left legs down, and get your shoulder stacked above your elbow. Push down with your left forearm so that the left shoulder is supported. And then roll your chest so that it's a little bit more vertical. Try not to let it lean too far back or too far forward. Then we're going to aim to keep that. And we're going to push down with knee and left forearm. Squeeze the left side ribs and the outer left hip and lift your buns off the floor. Hold there and just check that you haven't rotated the torso forward or backward. And then begin little pulsations, hips lower, higher. Do this 3 to 5 times, really emphasizing that deep squeeze on the left side of your waist and your outer hip. Strengthening in the low back and the hips. Really good to ease pain and bring better posture. After number 3 or 5, whatever you're doing, just sit back down. You're going to push your elbow off the floor so you're just on the left hand. You're going to turn to the right. You can unstack the feet. And then you have those two options where you're either going to pull the right knee in kind of a rounded shape or take hold of your foot and stretch that leg up depending on your comfort level with that. Now we're crossing the right knee or left knee on top of right, whatever leg you're doing on top. I think I screwed up which one I told you, but coming into Gomukhasana with the legs, with one knee on top of the other. Just remembering that you can lift your hips or you can put that top knee upright, whichever way is best for your body. And just land there. Don't rush off into anything else and just be in this moment. See if you can let your hips, those outer hip muscles, relax a little bit. And if the knees are down, you can lean a little forward. And if your top knee is up, you can twist toward that side. And then patience, patience. Maybe even patience with your mind, which might still be spun up from earlier in the day. Just let all that chatter happen. It can leave the way that it came. Okay, untwist or walk the torso back upright. And you're going to go out on the left hand now. And with the left hand stretched out, you can take that right foot and bring it uncrossed and over to the front, or whatever side you're on. And lean your ribs toward the hand that you're using to prop your spine up. So think of it almost like a little C shape in the spine. You're opening the left side ribs by pushing down with that left hand and letting the rib cage spread. If that's not enough sensation, you can take that bottom leg and stretch it out on the ground. So just extending that line that's curving. To get out of here, you're going to step on the front foot, squeezing the outer waist again to go just temporarily into side plank pose, and then rotating around to reach the hands for the floor. Once the hands get to the floor, you're going to lift your left leg up high, And again, any variation with that top leg that feels like it brings you a sense of freedom, sense of expansion, natural, expansive spirit that you are. Just move in a way that matches your soul. Take your knee to pigeon pose. And remember to stay upright for a moment. And in your upright posture, squeeze your knees a little toward each other, scoop your tail under so that your belly can lift up, and use your hands for support for right now. And you're starting low by scooping that tailbone action, and then as you travel up the spine with your awareness, press back with your head into that imaginary headrest, remembering what it was like back when you had less pain, less struggle, and little baby you could just hold your head up in a place that was safe. How would you do that now? How could you do that here? When you've had enough of that on this side, just lean forward and put your forearms down. Just one or two more breaths as you hold here. And then once more, pick yourself back up and step into downward facing dog. This time you're going to step your right foot between your hands instead of your knee, and you're going to drop that back knee to the floor. Come on up with your hands on the front leg and press back with your skull. And just see if you can get that same sense of engagement or lift in the upper body where it's a little bit more cohesive work. So we're going to try to keep that engagement, and we're going to shift into warrior one with the hands down. So you're going to just pick up the back knee, straighten that leg. So this may be enough. It's a lot of work. But one last little piece, if you want to try it, is that left heel just kind of spins diagonally into the right and hits the ground. We're just going to let the hands dangle for today. And we're going to practice this feeling of obviously opening through the whole front of the left side, but lifting and extending up through the spine, even through the crown of the head. Bend into that right leg just until you feel some weight in your heel. You might have some burning in your right thigh. And then we're going to reverse how we got here. So you're going to lift the back heel. If you put it down, drop the knee. That alone builds some strength. Lift the ball of the front foot, slide your heel forward, then fold over the leg and put your hands down. You can always put them on blocks or go to the inside of your leg instead of straddling it with your hands, if this is a difficult stretch for you. Over the next few breaths, let your head release down and the neck be long. And a simple step to change, just suck that right foot back, put the knee down, switch to kneeling lunge with the left foot forward. Bring the torso upright. With the head upright, it's all the way stacked upright. It's a little bit harder to do this work in the upper back. So you have to use your imagination and your memory a little bit more to try to get that sense here. And then once you have it and you feel stable, just drop your hands down by your hips and pick up your right knee. And this is a lot of work already, just holding this straight leg lunge, back leg straight, front leg bent. Slide the head back. You know, don't push it. Like I have a tendency to overdo it on this side and I lose the support of those muscles we've been working with. Maybe put the right heel down on a diagonal. Hips are still pointing roughly forward. We're just letting the arms release so that we can train the spine to do this action instead of just the arms reaching up. Sink a little deeper in the left leg. And take one more breath. Reverse how you came to put the right knee down. Then lift the ball of the left foot, push that heel a little bit forward. Fold forward over your leg. Just surrender into the pose. Letting go of resistance and fight. Revealing that sweet breath underneath. And when you're ready, suck that leg back and transition onto your back. And once you get on your back, just for a moment, bend your knees. Push back with your elbows and your shoulders. Puff your chest. Push your skull back into the floor. Really open the upper chest. It can even kind of curl away from the floor in your upper back. Keep that buoyancy, that openness, and release your shoulders to the floor. Let your neck get long again. And then just bend your elbows out to the side and place your hands on your belly. Scoop your tail away from your head, just lengthening in the low back. And then stretch your legs out in Shavasana. Take just a few minutes for yourself where you're not really doing anything. You're practicing the not doing. Can be a challenge when we're used to being busy or stressed. See if you can tune into any subtleties of letting go in your body. Maybe you get some spontaneous deep breaths, or I often get like a kind of a little gentle cracking sound in the back of my neck. Like I'm not moving my head, but something lets go and I feel it there. And start to wiggle your toes and your fingers so that you can reawaken in a not too abrupt way. And then bend a knee or two, roll over to your side. You can pause there for a couple of breaths to just continue that gentle transition idea. Like when you're waking up, it's not always the best for the nervous system to just jump straight out of bed. So slowly sit yourself back upright and take a moment sitting. And while you're there, I'd like to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing and for following along. It means a lot to me to have you here. So I'll see you next time.